Hello, Vince.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for being here. It's a great honor to have here the greatest dunker of all time. First of all, how are you?
I'm wonderful, man. I'm wonderful. Living the dream out here in Abu Dhabi, and it's a pleasure being on with all of you. So let's get started.
That's good. That's good. Well, as you can see, we are with some MVAID members from Spain, from Greece. They are going to ask you some questions. But before that, I would love to ask you a very interesting and important question. Imagine that you can create the best slam dunk contest ever. Which 5 players? Well, 4, because you have to include yourself. Which 4 players would you choose?
It's hard to really pick some. I mean, obviously, I'm a Dr. J fan, so he's always going to be number one. My first selection, of course, MJ, and then I mean some of the best in the game. I mean, whoever I leave that up to fans because for me, I'm always up for the competition. Especially when it comes to dunking. I mean, there's a lot of options from Sean Kemp to Levine, Gordon, even Kobe. Now you can add like the John Morants. I mean, some of the great athletes who we consider dunkers. I mean, and it's tough picking John Morant because he hasn't actually done a dunk contest. So when you talk about the dunk contest platform, but the Aaron Gordon, the Levines, the Dr. J's, the Jordans, even Kobe. Those are some of the people that I would consider.
I like that. Thank you.
But whoever you put in front of me, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Ah, nice. That's the attitude. Thank you. So let's start with Javier.
Well, good evening, Vince, and thank you for this opportunity. I would like to ask you, which is the best, well, you have been in so many teams. I would like to ask you, which is the best team or locker room that you have been, like the one that was most fun for you?
I mean, so that question can go many ways. It just depends. I mean, I've played with, like my Atlanta, Sacramento days where I played with younger players. So the locker rooms are different, and it's vibrant, it's lively. And then I've played in like Dallas where we had older players, veteran players. So, and Orlando, we had a lot of older players but veterans. So it's hard to really pick a favorite because I look at the game and I look at those locker rooms and I value them all because they were all so different. And so I would give you an answer, and as I sit here and think about it or walk away, I'm like, man, no, I should have said another team for many different reasons. I had Memphis. I thought Memphis was another team. So like I said, it's just hard to pick one team. But I've been in some locker rooms where I've had younger players. A locker room full of younger players that still wanted to be great, and then I've had some locker rooms that weren't so great because it was just all about individuals instead of team. Then I've been with some veterans that, that are like, what, our goal and our mission was locked in every night and still had fun too. So.
Thank you very much. Dimitris, your turn.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
So, when you were little, have you ever imagined that you would become one of the best all-time players of the NBA?
Ooh, one more time.
I think that he said that if repeat please.
When you were little, did you imagine that you would become one of the best all-time players in the NBA?
Yeah, I think that he said if you imagine that you would become one of the best players of all time. I think.
Did he say players or dunkers?
Dunkers or player, Dimitris?
Both.
Both.
Well, I'll start with dunkers. For all of my life, I was able to dunk, and I had dreams of being in the dunk contest and all that stuff, and I never knew if I would become the greatest dunker or whatever, but I knew that I always wanted to get in the dunk contest, be a part of it, and just show the world what I could do. And then we go from there. And I wanted to push the envelope and just try things that had never been seen. And some people like wait, I never thought of putting my arm in the rim or something like that. So I was lucky because like I think about the dunk contest and some of the things that I did, like the arm in the rim, for instance. I could have easily fallen off the rim, and we're looking at this contest totally in a different light. But as a player, you think about the opportunity that you get to actually be in the NBA and get drafted, and then you go from there. And once again, it's kind of like being in a dunk contest. I just wanted to show my skill and my ability, and once I got a taste of it, I wanted more. So I never imagined if I would be considered one of the best players to play it. If not the best, that's fine. But to be considered one of the great players of in NBA history is, I don't care what the number is, but it's just like, there's hundreds of thousands of players that has come through the NBA, and to fall in a line of great players somewhere is saying a lot, because if you actually look at the real percentage of it, it's not that many players that has played the game. So it's an honor to first play the game, and then to be considered, amongst those guys is just crazy. I look at the stats, and you look where I fall scoring, and I'm in the top 20 of all time in scoring. Like, doesn't get any better than that.
Thank you very much. Let's go with George. The mic, you're mute. Yeah. You're mute, George.
Okay. Thank you. Beyond your dunks, you're known beyond your you're known as the best dunker at NBA history, but also you're known as one of the last romantics of the NBA. I want to ask you what you're thinking about the basketball, which is changing day by day. As for the playing style, and as for the habit which players have to change a lot of teams in their career. And I ask you, because you are in the change as as a player, and as a NBA fan, at this time you stop basketball, and then.
Well, I think of when I walked into the game, and it's when I walked in the game in 1998, and when I left the game in 2019, 2020, whenever I left, the game changed. The game became faster, wasn't as physical, but there was more scoring, and I understood the dynamic. And I had this conversation today with Isaiah Thomas, honestly, and I got the opportunity to see the transition. So I came into the game in the era of physicality, half court basketball, 100 points. If you scored 100 points, like, you were really scoring a lot of points. I left the game where if you're scoring 100 points, you weren't scoring enough. So it's just adapting to the way the game is played, because honestly, as you said, you being an NBA fan, can you admit, like, I think everybody on this, you enjoy seeing the high scoring, the 3-point shooting, the up and down fast play. That wasn't the case back in, my first 10 years. The game was, like I said, played in the 80s and 90s. That's just what it was. And it was just like a half court game and very physical. As the game got faster, I think it got more popular. If you think about it, because now more players, more people, more young athletes felt like, I can actually have a chance in the NBA, because now it's not as physical, it's faster. Where now it's about shooting. If you can shoot the ball, you can last, and if you can last in the league, you can last because you look at a lot of guys who, centers. Let's just talk about centers. Let's say like a Marc Gasol who would post up. He was a post up player, became a very good 3-point shooter. Look at Brook Lopez, who was 7 feet, a very good 3-point shooter. Joel Embiid. There's a lot of guys who didn't play well, and I guess Joel Embiid maybe not as good of an example because he came in like that. But Marc Gasol, when he first got in the league, he was just a guy that played in the paint below the free throw line, if you would, mid-range jumper. Now he evolved. So it's just the evolution of the game, and it's giving more guys. I mean, it's hurt the big man, if you would, because if you're a big man now, if you don't have the handle, you aren't athletic, fast, or can shoot, you probably don't have a spot in the NBA like you used to. But at the same time, I mean, what it's done for the game. It's exciting, right? Everybody enjoys it. Look where it's gone now. It's gone super global. It's gone everywhere. Now it's getting the chance to play basketball here in Abu Dhabi. It's just because of the scoring. I don't think it would be as appealing if it was still playing in the 80s and 90s. I just don't think so.
Thank you very much. George, please mute the mic.
Yeah.
Let's go with Mark.
Okay. Hello, Vince. With which player or in which team would you like to have start in your career?
Which player or team? Mark, give me that question again.
Yeah. With which player or in which team would you like to start your career?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, there's a lot of teams. If you think and I'm gonna think in current times. You're adapting to the way the game is played, fast-paced play with a lot of shooting. That's just what it is. So obviously, Golden State is one of the staples. There's a Milwaukee now who shoots a lot of threes. I mean, they're not known for it because we think of Giannis, who is a bruiser, who's not the shooter, but they do shoot a lot of 3-point shots. Believe it or not, Utah is a team that shoots a lot of 3-point shots. But I think of, if you're gonna talk about the shooting, you go to the model. That's where the model was the Golden State Warriors, who shot a lot of threes, who played fast up and down. So you look at a team like that. You look at a Steph Curry, where you have a superstar who can get it on his own, but he is so unselfish as a player. He's so unselfish as a player, and it's like he knows he can get hits, but he understands how important his other guys and his teammates are. So there's a guy in Steph Curry and Golden State. So I can pick both of them together and say that would be a great model for me to come into as a young guy, because one, you may get a chance to play, but you're going to learn how to play as a team. Because Greg Popovich, who's always taught team and play, and there was a time when the San Antonio Spurs were that model. And I think now Golden State has taken to another level because of Steve Kerr, who was a part of that model and has now gone to another level with that type of model. And I think it's great for a young guy to come in, because you will get the opportunity to play if you earn it. The way you earn it is learning that style of play, learning how to be a team player, and not making it just about you. It's about the success of the team.
Thank you very much. Alberto, your turn.
Hi, Vince. Thank you so much. You're a Hall of Famer.
Thank you. We hope.
Do you think, according to the importance of 3-pointers nowadays, do you think some changes have to be made, or some other rule?
As far some other rule as far as what though? Like, I mean, it's kind of the way it is. Go ahead.
To improve the games.
It's hard. I mean, you have to kind of think outside of the box. Like, how can you improve the game to make it faster? I mean, outside of adding a 4-point shot. And I think that's just a little much, because now I mean, if you think a 4-point shot, it's going to have to be a little further out. Yes, there's going to be guys who can and will shoot it, but now you're starting to get guys. I mean, it's one thing having big guys centers or guys who weren't great shooters now shooting 3-point shots within reason. You put more a 4-point shot there or something like that, adding or moving the 3-point line back. I don't know. I mean, it's trial and error. I think the game right now, there's tweaks that's going to always be made because of, situation. It's situational right now. But I just think right now the game is in a good place for fans more than anything, because it's like I said, that's why I asked that kind of question to you guys earlier. You enjoy seeing a high-paced game with a lot of scoring. You would prefer to see that than a slower-paced game. So I think the game's in a good place, and the NBA is going to always protect players. They're going to always look into changing rules that grow the game. Whether we as players or former players or fans sometimes like it or not, they're trying to protect the players. There's the thing. It's just kind of the way it is. I can't think of anything that would like take it to new heights right now because of where the game is. It's like, I mean, you go to new heights by doing what? What do you do? I just don't think adding moving the 3-point line back at it, because you have to look at percentages first. I don't know the league average for 3-point shooting, but I know the scoring is going up, which is putting the game in a good place. So you really can't complain at this moment.
Thank
Great
you
question.
very much. Thank
Thank
you. Konstantinos, your turn.
Right. Vince, first of all, I would like to thank you for your contribution to the culture and to the game of basketball. As a kid who grew up in the zeros, you are one of my basketball idols. I started following your career when a DVD with an in-game dunks came to my hands in an era that access to an internet connection was not even a thing for most households in Greece. Me and my friends fell in love with your dunks, and I can still recall the speaker's words from the dunk contest in 2000. So having just one question for you, I would like to ask about your inspiration behind your iconic honey dip dunk.
The inspiration. So, as the dunk contest was going on, I was trying to figure out, what was my next move? What was to wow the crowd? Because for me, my first dunk, I wanted to set the tone of what my goal was for the night, and that's where the first dunk came about. And so, some people out here say, "Oh, he set the bar too high," but I didn't know what that meant, And so the now known as the honey dip, I had to think about it. It's like, which one is that? But backstory is I played in Gary Payton's charity game, and in the layup line, I was doing layups, and I was just dropping the ball into the rim. I didn't really put my arm all the way in, just dropping it, just seeing how high I can get and drop the ball in the rim. So I was like, what if I actually hung up there? I've never tried it. I thought of it sitting on the bench right there. And I told Katino Mobley, I don't know if you guys know Katino Mobley, but Katino Mobley was at that charity event. So he saw me doing the layups and putting the ball in. I told him, I'm going to try that, but just go and try to hang up there on the rim. He's like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. So I knew I had no game plan. I didn't know, did I want to come in from the left side? Did I want to come in from the right side? So if you go back and look at the film, by the time I walk it off. I walk up to the rim and I just kind of replayed it or played it in my mind what felt right. And I just remember the last thing I stood at the rim and looked at was like, please God, I hope this works out. I don't fall off, I don't hurt myself. And I walked back and I retraced my steps. And the last thing you will see is that I rubbed my arm. Because like I said, I didn't know what the feeling, what that feeling would feel like. I didn't know what. Like I just said, okay, how would I accomplish this? And I'm thinking all of this within the 2 minutes you have, I think, to complete your dunk. I mean, literally from the time they give you the ball, I think you had 2 minutes. I could be wrong, but it was something it wasn't 5 minutes. It was 2 minutes to where you had to decide or, get your dunk completed. So I'm trying to figure this all out, fast track. Okay, I got to do this, got to do that. And I remember rubbing my arms. So I said, what do I want to accomplish? Well, what I want to accomplish, I want to show that I can jump really high over the rim. That's why I keep the ball up very high. So, you can see where we are, but also be high enough where I can stick my arm in the rim and stick the landing, if you would. And so I can hold on, because if I didn't get up high enough, I wouldn't be able to hold on and I would fall off and probably break my arm as well. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about that, and that's kind of where the influence from it came. I just created it there, and I wasn't sure if I could pull it off or not. But at the same time, I wasn't afraid to try it. And my NBA coach, Butch Carter, the last thing he told Tracy McGrady and I when we left, he said, "Don't go out there and do something stupid and break something." So I had that last moment, and that's why I rubbed my arm, because I'm like, please don't fall off this rim and break your leg or your arm. So I get up there, and I said, when I get up there holding the rim, I want the arena to be quiet, because I knew nobody hadn't seen it, hadn't seen that before, and wasn't expecting it, and I didn't know. So as I'm getting up there, and there's one of the angles you can see when I'm up on the rim, my eyes are closed, and I'm holding on. First of all, I'm holding on and feel like, but I'm holding to see if there's crowd noise. So I hold on, I open my eyes, let off the rim, and if you can see, I'm walking with my head down, I'm still listening. And then they always show Shaq, and everybody's like sitting there like, wait a minute. And that's what I wanted. I wanted everybody to see it, not know what you're looking at, have to look at the Jumbotron to see the replay, and it all makes sense. So as I'm walking with my head down, and all of a sudden you see a smirk. I was like, I pulled it off. So that's where the "it's over" came from, because I created most of the dunks that night. So I was like, if I'm able to create or come up with these dunks that night on the spot and pull them off, it's over for these guys, because like, it's working. And there it is. That was the history. That's how it happened.
Thank you.
And I'll add this. Let me add this to it. Pull off the dunk, fine, everything. I finished the dunk contest. Mind you, Sunday is All-Star game. I woke up the next morning. My arm was purple on the top and on the bottom, because I was holding on so tight. My adrenaline was so high from that point on the entire night to when I was able to calm down and wake up the next morning. All the blood rushed to that area, and I couldn't move my arm that morning.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I could play the All-Star game.
So, sorry, Vince, they are telling me that we don't have much more time. So please, Athanasios, Zinedine, and Sergio, can you do your 3 questions, like a quick questions and answers? So Vince, they are telling me that we don't have so much time. So please, quick, Athanasios, Zinedine, and Sergio.
Let's do it.
Like quick, yeah, let's go. Come on. Yeah. Athanasios first, you're first. Yeah. We don't have so much more time, so let's do a quick answers and questions with Athanasios, Zinedine, and Sergio, please.
Hello, Vince. I'm so glad to meet you. So my question is, how important do you believe is for an elite athlete to be a role model for the society and to give something back in the community?
I think it's important, but I don't put pressure on guys to do so, because a lot of guys feel like they have to give back to the community, but they don't know how to do so. And I prefer it to be genuine from a player. So I want it to come from the heart, and they mean it more so they do it because we as fans, or we as people or athletes, feel like they have to do it. You do that, because it comes from the heart. When it comes from the heart, it means more. And I think that's when people appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Let's go with Zinedine.
Hello, Vince. Who do you think are the 3 or the 5 best in-game dunkers of all time?
In-game dunkers. That's tough. I mean, I think Sean Kemp is definitely one of them. MJ was one. I don't know. I mean, it's just tough to name a bunch of them, because it's like when you say MJ, like it's creative, like fearful. It's a lot. But there's I think of Amari Stoudemire. There's a guy who used to destroy people back in the day. So that's a few to name.
Thank you. And finally, Sergio.
Hi, Vince. It's an honor for me to be talking with you, first of all. And I would like to ask you, for you, what's the best dunk ever made in a dunk contest in the NBA?
The arm and the rim. We just talked about it. Come on now, stop it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you got. Hey, Constantine, you asked about it. There you go. That's the one.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Vince. Good luck. Thank you for your time. We know that you have many activities to do, so you can do it right now. And thank you to all, and let's enjoy the game, and let's enjoy the Vince Carter dunks in repeat. Thank you very much. Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure.